Great. Well, thank you for being here today. My name is Matt. I'm one of the co-founders of SolePower. When I first started thinking about this TED Talk and knowing that the theme was revolutions, I began talking to my friends. And as I was talking to them, we began discussing what revolutions really were and whether or not we were really in a revolutionary period. So as we were going through this, we had a whole bunch of different ideas about what a revolution really were. And what we just discovered was we were all wrong. We were looking at this and the amount of impact that a revolution has when a technology comes to market, the lasting impact that it has and how it shapes the world around it was more radical than we could ever imagine. So what we were thinking we were going to find when we looked at this was a growth in the market and a growth in the economic value that's created from a product similar to this. So you would see this rapid increase in production, and then an equilibrium would be found, and then another rapid increase in production, and another equilibrium would be found, and it would continue to snowball and grow, but in a sustainable way. When we actually dug into our research here, what we found was that looking at the growth from a product going to market or growth from a new revolution, you saw an increasing rate of production over a period of time that could just continue to increase. So you started at a nice equilibrium and it just continued to snowball. So a great example of this is the first industrial revolution. So this takes you from the 1500s, where you were at a nice equilibrium, all the way up to today, where you see we're in the stratosphere now. So when a revolution occurs, you see a fundamental shift in the way that an economy works and the way that products are actually delivered, which dramatically increases the way that a system is delivered to the consumer. So it increases the amount of production that an economy is able to produce. So are we in a revolution today was really the question we were trying to answer. So being entrepreneurs and being engineers, we all said, well, what does the data say? Data doesn't lie. So what is it telling us? Now, when we looked at the last 50 years, we saw going from the very beginning, going 50 years back, we saw this very linear growth in our production. We said, okay, this doesn't look very revolutionary. This doesn't look like something is really taking off here. So it doesn't seem like we're in a revolutionary period. So we dug a little further and we said, okay, let's look at all of the past revolutions that have occurred and take that into perspective as to where we are today. So we began looking all the way back at how fast economies were growing, specifically the US economy. During these revolutions, we saw that during the first industrial revolution, it's hard to argue that that wasn't a revolution. We saw growth rates of 2.3% above the average. So about a 30% increase above the average occurring over this period of time. When you go and you look at what's happening today, you see that we're at a 1% growth rate as opposed to this 1.8% growth rate. That's a 45% deficit behind where we're supposed to be if this is a revolutionary period. So naturally, we all looked and said, okay, that's no. It's not a revolutionary period yet. Because when we were looking at this, we said, where does this need to be and what really needs to happen for us to hit this revolutionary period? And a whole lot of technologies need to actually go from being on the cusp of commercialization to actually commercialize. So we're about to hit this breakthrough. We're about to hit this next milestone. Now, some of the technologies that are on that cusp are robotics. Now, they've already revolutionized the way that we look at manufacturing. But where they're going to continue to revolutionize is our daily lives and the way that we interact with each other. So you see companies in Pittsburgh like 4Moms creating robotic assistants for babies, so basically putting robotics into the home from a very early age. You see companies in Japan adding elderly assistant robots, helping people at an elderly age live their lives more independently and more freely. You also see Nightscope, which is a robotic crime detection robot that's going to begin rolling around the streets. So there's a number of different technologies that are on the cusp here, and they've already begun the revolution in the manufacturing side of the world. You also see new technologies coming out like autonomous vehicles. So Google and Uber here are going back and forth, creating the first autonomous vehicle to hit the road. You see Mercedes-Benz, which is coming up with an autonomous truck. Now, it's interesting to see these two technologies play off of each other because as you're automating with robotics, you're also automating with vehicles. You get to this point where you see a rapid increase in delivery of products. So Amazon recently just launched their 1-hour delivery service. So you can go online if you live in select zip codes and say, I want this product, and it'll show up at your door within an hour. This is only going to become more common and have more economies of scales once the robotics and automated vehicles merge. So when you click buy now and you put your payment information in and purchase the product, a robot will go over to the shelf, pick it up, put it into an autonomous vehicle, and ship it to you, and no one's ever touched that product between you saying, I want the product, and it showing up at your door. So radically new way to actually deliver products to you. And this is actually something that's pretty close to actually being commercially viable at this point. Then you look at wearable technologies. So you see projects like Project Jacquard coming out of Google right now, which is connected fiber. So actually weaving the technologies that you know and love into the fabric of your clothes. So you're always connected. You don't need to be carrying around a cell phone at any point in time. It's all part of your daily motions, part of your daily life. And how it's being powered, as we see at SolePower, we want to power this using our insole product, a power generating shoe insole. So as you walk, you actually take the motions of your daily life and put this into powering your mobile electronics. And one of the early signs of this is your wearable tech. So you're looking at the smartwatches, which are really a miniaturization, but really the shift that has to happen to enable this portion of this is how are you actually perceiving reality? Or how are you actually perceiving the world around you? So looking at companies like Magic Leap working on augmented reality, looking at companies like Oculus or Samsung with virtual reality. Virtual reality is already here. You're looking at a lot of the Christmas gifts this year are virtual reality toys. So having cardboard viewers that allow you to experience the world in a different way and transport you somewhere else. Now, when augmented reality comes into play, then that's just overlaid on top of your daily life. So bringing those two systems of wearable technologies, monitoring everything, and your augmented reality that allows you to experience the world in a wholly different way will, again, increase production. And then, of course, you have your connected items that are out there coming out. So you have your Nest that's continuing to revolutionize and connect your home, August locks that are coming out, which are smart locks for your home as well. So another layer of connectivity. So where is this all taking us? Where did this all build to at this point? This builds us to a truly connected world. Now, it's going to take a little bit of time to get there, but all of these technologies that I've mentioned are being worked on and are very close to actually entering into the market in some form or another. So when you look at this, it's not hard to see your Monday morning routine completely changing from having to hit your alarm clock off to having your connected sheets tell your alarm clock to turn off because you actually got out of bed. Moving from waking and getting into a cold shower to having a shower that's preheated for you. When you put on your connected clothing and you slip into your pair of SolePower-enabled insoles, walking down the steps and charging up all of your devices as you go to your morning coffee, prepared by your automated home robot. Now, as you walk to your automated vehicle, your body takes your vitals and says, hey, congratulations, you have a clean bill of health. So this completely changes the way that we experience our lives, and all of this technology is actually being developed right now. So when I say we're on the cusp of a revolution, it's really 5 to 10 years out where we see radical changes in the way that we live our lives. Now, is this all good? There's many issues that come up when you're looking at these revolutions of privacy. So essentially, your entire body will be digitized. Everything about you will become digital. So how that is handled and how that information is used is going to be something that legislators need to take into account and need to look at. But then again, we have labor issues here where automated vehicles can reduce the amount of jobs in the economy by over 2 million. You have home assistants who would take another 500,000 jobs out of the economy. So you're automating out a lot of different jobs. Heck, there's even artificial intelligence that's being developed to try and out-engineer the engineers. So it's a completely different way of living the world and seeing the economy. And all in this pursuit of seeing this next revolutionary growth, where per person you're able to see a higher yield. So we're going to continue to evolve and continue to create these technologies. And what you'll eventually see is social change. You'll see a world where you're either going to go back to this nice equilibrium where we find a nice balance between technologies and how we work our daily lives so everyone has a well-paying job, or you're going to end up continuing to go off on this path of increased innovation, which eventually may end up in this cultural shift. And you see this cultural shift where people need a job and you have to pay them, so you end up with a less than a 40-hour work week for a person. So that's a major change in the way that we live our lives, because you have so much technology that's automated out a lot of the jobs. And when we were sitting here looking at this and going through this analysis, we just kind of looked at each other like, holy crap, now that is a revolution. So we're on the cusp of this revolution, and it's going to be a really interesting time going forward to see the way the world changes around us over the next few years. So thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of the shows.